If I look back on it, maybe I did it too fast because we just got so many new opportunities that we couldn't take advantage of because there wasn't enough time in the day. Managing that many co-sell opportunities was very, very difficult. And one of the big reasons that we're talking right now with Tackle and the folks there is we shared so many opportunities that not only could we not keep up with the activities we were being asked to participate in, but we also couldn't keep up with launching deals and managing all the day to day that came from Ace without, a tool like Tackle in the middle.
Welcome to Unlock Cloud Go-to-Market, the series where hosts Erin Feiger and Patrick Riley share the essential stages of the cloud GTM maturity model to start, optimize, and grow your company's revenue through the cloud. They've helped countless ISVs tackle the ins and outs of their cloud GTM motion. And in each episode, they're sharing those success stories from the people who have put them into place. Because ultimately, this way of thinking is the future, and the future is now.
Everybody, and welcome to another episode of Unlock Cloud Go-to-Market. Today, Erin and I are joined by TJ Schmidt, the Director of Cloud Partnerships at Rapid7, and you are not going to want to miss this episode. He talks about how Rapid7 has truly unlocked and built their brand such that they're realizing the top line revenue metrics from the cloud providers, like an increase in deal size, the increased win rates, and the shorter deal cycles. Do not miss out. Co-sell is behind all of it. Brand building, actually realizing the true value of this. And Erin and I are going to unpack all of that. So stay tuned and hear from our newest Tackle Customer Advisory Board member, TJ Schmidt. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Unlock Cloud Go-to-Market. I'm co-host Patrick Riley.
I'm co-host Erin Feiger.
And today we are very excited to be joined by TJ Schmidt, Director of Cloud Partnerships at Rapid7. TJ, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me on here.
We're really excited to hear your story. And before we get into kind of your journey at Rapid7, we would love for you to just start by sharing a little bit of your background and how you came to be the Director of Cloud Partnerships at Rapid7.
Sure thing. Thank you again for having me. I came over to Rapid7 from AWS. I was a partner development manager in the public sector team for almost 2 years. And then actually prior to that, I was part of a team at Ingram Micro that was responsible for AWS. That was from about 2014. So I've been in the AWS world for almost 10 years now, having some capacity with it, typically partner focused, never really sitting on this side of the table on the ISV alliance leader side of things. But I had taught enough partners how to use AWS, how to be proficient and all the ins and outs to be successful in what I think is successful in the role right now.
Okay, TJ, let's start at the very beginning. So you come over from AWS and you're now at Rapid7. How did you initiate your journey with your cloud go-to-market?
Yeah, so coming over from AWS into Rapid7, there was kind of already a path that had been outlined that I was really kind of given to work with. And what I wanted to do was take full advantage of that and use it to our success. And what Rapid7 had aligned with is trying to get opportunities out of AWS. There's tons of materials you can read where we wanted AWS to be this op generating machine. And, coming over, I knew that this was going to be a very hard task and it was going to be a longer term task than what we believed it was should have been. And what I did was looked at, okay, co-sell. And in my head, if we're going to try to get opportunities out of AWS, the best way to do that is to grow our mind share. And the best way to grow mind share is not to just run into AWS offices and tell them how great your company is, but actually show them how great your company is by bringing new customers, having these conversations, using each one of those opportunities as a way to describe what it is your company does, how you help customers. AWS's customer obsession is number one leadership principle. So now we get to show how we are customer obsessed and how we're solving customer challenges. And so I went on a journey just co-selling and sharing as many opportunities as I possibly could. I think we went from 450 before I started to 900 plus, and we're actually on track now to see 1,000% growth as we finish out the remainder of this year from the start of my tenure at Rapid7 to now. And so we kind of forced that mind share down AWS's throat. They had no choice but to know who Rapid7 was because we were co-selling so frequently with them.
Yeah. So you used co-sell as your brand strategy to boost your brand inside of AWS and to give your organization an opportunity to not only tell them who your customers were and where you were trying to go to market, but your story, like who you are and what you do. And what was the expectation of Rapid7 leadership on, well, how soon are we going to see AOs coming in from AWS? Like, and was there some expectation setting you needed to do?
Yeah, there was definitely some expectation setting that I needed to do. It was still something that they were trying to toy with, making goals and responsibilities be specifically AO. But what I was able to do is kind of show that this is a longer term play. And what we needed to do was gain that notoriety, that mind share from the beginning. And then we could start measuring at, okay, if we share X amount of opportunities, we get Y back from AWS. And if we could develop over the course of a period of time some consistency, then it makes us understand, okay, here's typically the percentage. If we share this many, we're going to get back this percent. And so I was lucky enough to have a company that is understanding and trusted my opinion, and that we have to start at stage one. We can't just jump into this and expect the world from all different angles. Stage one is let's build our brand, let's build our mind share, and that is just sharing opportunities. And then as we see AOs coming back, that's great. But the other thing that I'm trying to show them over this journey, this 2.5 year journey too, show my company, is that AOs are not the end all be all. There's so many other things that we can do through our co-sell strategy. And what we need to really pay attention to is all of these additional benefits and features and programs that we can take advantage of, not necessarily the AOs. Those are kind of a icing on the cake when you're going into market.
Yeah, co-sell leads to your ability to open up doors to have access to other programs and initiatives inside of the partnership, not just I give you a deal, you give me a deal.
You give me one.
Yeah, right. So can you share some of your like early successes at Rapid7 that you experienced around your co-sell strategy? Like what happened? You started to share these opportunities and it takes a while for AOs to come in. So what did you see as early success indicators?
Yeah, so co-sell and just sharing opportunities with AWS took off. We were sharing so many. We started getting actually too many invites to participate in different activities at AWS, lightning rounds with different groups, different programs, different marketing initiatives. We just were getting inundated left and right. And, if I look back on it, maybe I did it too fast because we just got so many new opportunities that we couldn't take advantage of because there wasn't enough time in the day. Managing that many co-sell opportunities was very, very difficult. And one of the big reasons that we're talking right now with Tackle and the folks there is we shared so many opportunities that not only could we not keep up with the activities we were being asked to participate in, but we also couldn't keep up with launching deals and managing all the day to day that came from ACE without, a tool like Tackle in the middle.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love how like more opportunities came to you. And when we say opportunities, we mean like not just deal opportunities, but
Correct.
opportunities to connect in lightning rounds with sales teams, in programs, being more programmatic and strategic inside your partnership.
Correct. Yeah, I was being asked to be in different cities very frequently, and a solo person running all aspects of this overall partnership from marketplace transactions to co-sell, all the in betweens. It was impossible to do all of this because we realized quickly, or I realized quickly, that the more of this I do, the more activity comes from it, the more I can't participate in this activity to participate in managing the co-sell opportunity. So it just became, when we talk about a flywheel, this one became a bad flywheel. So we started looking at how we could update that and take advantage of it the correct way.
Having sat in a similar shoe without the partnership piece added to it, managing all of this part of the business is a lot, especially when you've got other full-time things you need to start doing. When you got to this phase, it sounds like you were seeing success, but your time was severely constrained.
Mhm.
Operationally, it was becoming difficult. What was it like internally? What were those conversations like to help get leadership on board with, hey, we are seeing some value. These are the metrics. What do those conversations look like to help get you some support where you needed it?
Yeah, so I'd have a great leader who's open to listening and wants to do all of it. I told him, hey, I'm a very, very competitive person. And so when we hear that we're doing so great, but we're still, second best, third best, fourth, whatever it is, AWS doesn't give you exacts or anything, but you can hear some rumors here and there of how well you're doing. And so I was able to go to him and say, look, I don't want to be, wherever we are. If we're not number one, I don't want to be there. And there's so many things that we could be doing more of that we're not. So success is cool, but what I tried to show is I don't want to call them failures, but the misses, right? The opportunity misses on our end. Hey, we could have done this if we had more people, more technology, better tools, things like that. We could have participated in this marketing activity had we had the time to invest in that due to, the technology constraints and managing ACE and things like that. So I was able to really kind of show here's all of the things we're missing out on because getting us to this point where we're being invited to this has caused so much administrative task that without tools, technology, and people, it was very hard to manage.
I love that. So sometimes people focus on like, hey, these are the benefits we're going to get if we go do these things, right? And they try to paint this picture of like, what's the art of the possible? And you were like, I'm going to go create FOMO, the fear of
Yeah,
missing out
yeah,
to
yeah,
get
yeah.
support. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a strong understanding of what comes out of those things, and what would be present if we were able to participate in these things. But yeah, the FOMO was real. Like we knew that we don't want our competitors to hog all the attention. If we're doing all this great work and co-selling and sharing opportunities and sharing our message, but one of our competitors comes in and then steals, AWS's ear, runs a campaign or does one of these activities or is leveraging a program that we are not doing, everything that we just did from a co-sell perspective kind of gets diminished a little bit. And so we wanted to be able to do all of it essentially. And so that was one of the ideas that I had. It seems to have worked for now.
So you kind of make this shift, right? You start out in that phase of early adoption. We're establishing our foundation. You've built a little bit of that. Now you get some additional lift internally and you can apply the company to more programs and incentives. And you mentioned this a little bit, but can you elaborate on how Rapid7 used some of the cloud programs and some of the incentives available to you now that you have some more time to help grow that partnership?
Yeah. So one of the things that I spent some time doing is trying to show internally at the company that again AOs are icing on the cake, but really what we should be looking at AWS as is almost like an investment partner. AWS's big thing, and I wasn't on a program team at AWS, so I don't know this with certainty, but it seems like the way they've developed their partner programs is to allow everyone to compete on an even playing field. There's other companies that are bigger than Rapid7, companies that are smaller than Rapid7, but to allow everybody to kind of gain the attention at AWS and still develop their own business, AWS invests back to partners like Rapid7. And what I wanted to do was show them how we could use that to better our business. And so a couple years ago, or last year, I think it was, there was a program called GPA that we were able to make some pretty significant money on. And one of the things I said to myself, still in a solo spot, was this is going to be hard, but the benefit is going to pay off in the end. And I actively pursued taking full advantage of the program that was built to be able to show my company what types of investments we could get, but then also the same FOMO. Hey, by the way, this is with one person focusing on one particular area. This was a global program with the appropriate tools, technology, and people. We can leverage this even more. And so now we've been leveraging the CEI program this year with AWS to continue pulling in funds. And both of these programs, whatever you call it, GPA or CEI, they're both
Yeah.
the same program, just different titles. it allowed me to showcase why we should invest in a company like Tackle to help us not only increase our co-sell to use these programs, but to increase all the other benefits that we're getting from co-selling with AWS with a reduced administrative task on the team that's providing these things and also take full advantage of other things like the AWS marketplace from Tackle's perspective. But then we also use some of that investment to hire people so that we
Yeah.
could continue driving these programs and driving our mind share with AWS.
Love
Yeah, I
that.
mean, sometimes you get revenue, right, from the partnership, and sometimes you get investment funds that help you bring down your cost of business or increase your margin so that you can invest in these areas of the organization with this additional funds. So revenue comes in a different form, right? Not revenue from
Mhm.
a customer, but revenue from AWS that gives you the ability to make these investments, whether it's like continuing to build out and co-build, continuing to invest in the team and marketing and to grow the program.
Yeah, I had a conversation yesterday with one of our director of global marketing, and as we were talking about it, it hit me. A lot of companies will measure their successes on how they're competing with their competitors, but within the AWS, the way that AWS has developed these programs, the way I look at it is what you really should be doing is seeing how you compete with yourself. If you're bringing in cash and you're using it the correct way and leveraging all of the aspects of AWS, it allows you to grow your own business. What did we do with the investment? What did we do with these things from AWS? And how do we turn it into more business for ourselves? So, really, to me, we should be looking at year over year growth. What are we doing with AWS to continue to grow our own business, not worrying about what everybody else is doing and getting from
Yeah.
them?
Erin, your success reminds me of a similar success of like using the co-sell program as a way to boost your brand and get access into programs, but also like investment funds from the cloud partner. And then they turned around and used those cloud investment funds to really seed foundational marketing tools and
Mhm.
like marketing things that they wanted to use in order to help build co-marketing campaigns and drive more business and awareness around their joint solution. And it was a game changer for that startup at the time. It really seeded those foundational pieces in their business.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said something you said something that made me think of my kids are always saying this, but you said something smart in there, which is we shouldn't compare ourselves in the outputs that other companies are achieving to what our goals are and where we should be going. And that my kids always say comparison is the thief of joy. And I don't and now I've heard it like 3 times this week. But
That's
like you made me think of that. And I think that's often overlooked. We're always going into this with, well, this company is top tier partnership here, and this is what they're doing, and this is what they're getting, and we want to be like that. But we shouldn't always compare ourselves because we aren't doing the same things.
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. You got to compete against yourself.
Yeah, I love it.
That's awesome. All right. Well, let's move on to like talking more about the cloud programs. You've talked about some of these cloud programs that have really helped you get your cloud go to market like up and running and picking up that pace and acceleration and like your investment in Tackle. What other ways has the cloud programs really helped Rapid7's overall goals and objectives?
Program perspective, it has fully allowed us to invest in different areas that, we might not have had budget for. We identified quickly that marketplace was just an organic growth engine. Marketplace lends itself to many significant wins at Rapid7. We've seen deal sizes grow up to 3x the size of traditional size deals. Our win rate increased to 40%. Our sales cycle shortened by 21 days. So we've seen some significant benefits in marketplace. And what we identified is that marketplace was just growing on its own. Or we've grown our marketplace utilization by 750% since implementation on day one. And we really have not enabled our teams until 2024 on how to use marketplace. So this growth is completely driven by customer demand. And what we identified is that if our customers are asking for this, we need to be able to support it correctly. And that's really where the second super high benefit that we were looking for in Tackle is coming from, allowing us to more strategically deliver marketplace transactions, build our presence. That helps us align to things that are important to AWS as well. Again, competing with yourself, but really what we're trying to do is align our goals as an organization with the goals of AWS so that we can just continue to take full advantage of all of the programs and all of the initiatives that AWS is offering. If we try to fight that or, go against it or not even that, but just not embrace it,
Yeah.
it makes things difficult for everyone. And really, it's one of those things where the train's going, you might as well jump on board and use it to help your business and take full advantage of it.
Yeah. And at Taco, we have this like cloud go to market flywheel. And listening to your story, you enter the flywheel via co-sell. You
Mhm.
started it on your own. And as you created operational pain, you called Tackle and said, "Hey, Tackle, can you help me? I can't scale this as a one-man show. And as I bring on people, like I'm going to need, help in general around operational excellence and co-sell." Then comes investment funds from the cloud provider, from AWS, that enables you to now invest in doing more with Tackle. Also, marketplace becomes increasingly more important. So now you start to add marketplace and you're starting to create this momentum inside the flywheel. When you saw that pain around marketplace and you
Mhm.
came to Tackle, like what are all of the pieces that you're using around our people and our technology and our processes to really help you continue to not slow down that momentum, keep that
Sure.
momentum going?
Well, we identified because we were, like you said, the flywheel entered was co-sell transactions. We identified quickly that marketplace transactions followed the same linear line as co-sell. So the more we co-sold, the more we had marketplace. And that's AWS bringing up marketplace. We're finding AWS customers that use the marketplace. So we identified quickly that they're going right along with each other. And so what I explained to the organization is if we're sharing more opportunities, which is what we want to do to gain our mind share, our marketplace presence has got to be better. And we're going to see organically more marketplace transactions. So if we want to continue co-selling at the level that we are, we need to develop out better tools, people, and processes around the marketplace. And so to help with co-sell, we started talking with Tackle. We wanted to help with marketplace at the exact same time. So it was a perfect marriage there of what we were looking for from a tool perspective. And now that we come in at co-sell, now we're doing more marketplace. This creates another operational efficiency that we need to work on. And at one point, we had a singular person, myself, doing all marketplace transactions all over the world, and we have a very hockey stick like month and quarter. And so it was literally the last 2 weeks just being slammed with creating marketplace private offers. And it was starting to become apparent to me that this was going to cause some customer concerns or some bad customer experience. And as we looked at that, started partnering with Tackle, it allowed us to simplify that process through the technology, but it also allowed us to hire a deal up or not hire, but leverage our deal operations team at Rapid7 to help create marketplace. Our original process was for 23 pages long of how to create a marketplace private offer. And once we had Tackle implemented it, it simplified that process significantly. I didn't write the new process doc. I didn't write the old one either. I don't want to take credit for that because if Aaron's watching, he did all that. But we were able to simplify that drastically. But the other thing that Tackle did that significantly helped us is Tackle now could come in and teach our team how to create these private offers. It no longer was me trying to teach someone else a 23-page document
Yeah.
of how to do this. We now had a simplified process that also came with a great go to market coach who was able to help us communicate and train these new teams as they come in. And this ultimately comes all the way back around the flywheel back to our co-sell strategy and all of these pieces, the programs that we leverage, the technology allowed me to actually go out and hire a team of people to help with our AWS Alliance. So we went from a team of one to a team of six now globally.
Yeah.
And with the simplified co-sell process, it makes it very easy to teach the team and make them more efficient in a shorter period of time to leverage the co-sell. And we also have the support of a great go-to-market coach to come in and help not only enable that team, help onboard them, teach them what they need to do using the tools, but the strategy behind the go-to-market was very important to help get the folks on my team up to speed very quickly.
Yeah, your journey, I'm sure, is going to resonate with some of our listeners. It starts off as like a one-man band and you have to do all the things and you invest and partner up with Tackle using our software. Instead of having to go hire a team of operational folks, you're able to actually leverage your internal team that already exists by giving them a very simple process and a simple experience to do that. They're willing to say, yeah, we can support this area of the business so that you can go invest in other resources that the organization doesn't have and you really need in order to continue to scale and grow your cloud, go to market efforts globally.
And unlock some of those swim lanes. I know when you talked to us the other day, you mentioned how it got to the point where you had to kind of put some guardrails on what opportunities you could take through marketplace because you know TJ's
He
got
created more
priorities on the
FOMO.
right
Look at all these
side too.
opportunities we're missing out on because I can't.
Yeah.
We didn't pass any opportunities. I will say that no matter what, we were putting them through the marketplace, but I tried to create a false level, I guess, of prioritization. And we set up some guardrails, 24-hour turnaround times. Deal sizes had to be certain size with, we again would make an exception, but you'd have to come to me and talk to me so that we could figure it out. But all of that was really done because, again, we would get so many opportunities at the end of a month or a quarter that almost every other aspect of the business would have to shut down for me other than creating marketplace private offers. And because it was a global reach, I was creating private offers at 7 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning for Australia, and then working till midnight for the West Coast. So it created a ton of disdain on my part, but I saw the value and I knew what we needed to do because our customers were asking for it and the benefits were apparent. And I knew that it was important to a partner that we were growing with. And so we needed to figure out how to solve that challenge. And Tackle has been extremely supportive in helping us get to where we are this year with a very strong marketplace strategy. And all the other pieces that we get from AWS lend itself to marketplace. So, my team is really heavily focused on marketplace, but with that comes all the other things that we need to do, right? So we're not going to go to marketplace without co-selling. So we're co-selling and that leads to marketplace. We're not going to go to marketplace without enabling AWS. My team is doing enablement. Now we do enablement on all of those pieces within the internal at Rapid7 as well, and the benefits that can be gained from that.
Yeah, I can sympathize with your activities. I think I said this on another episode. Like the home life, trying to do it all on your own and spend all those hours was severely strained. So I think I had a lot of butt kissing to do after we
Yeah.
expanded.
Halloween was always the very tough one because it's always on the 31st, and I'm walking around with my laptop doing trick or treating, and going to friends' houses and having to sit outside or sit in a room and do private offers after we get back from trick or treating. So, yeah, that was a tough one. New Year's Eve too was not a lot of fun, but
Oh, yeah, no.
Maybe they'll actually make a costume about this role someday. It's a
there you
superhero.
go. It's it'd be me in a cape and a computer attached to my side with a Rapid7 shirt.
Yeah, and a cloud over your head.
Yeah, yeah.
Now we talked a lot about aligning company goals with marketplace priorities. We talked a little bit about it, but I want to unpack that for a second before we kind of talk about how you kind of measure all of this. But when it came to Rapid7 aligning with AWS's priorities, for example, how did you ensure that the company from a strategy perspective was aligned to what AWS had as a priority? And can you give an example of how that benefited you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that I positioned it is we're doing these things anyway, and customers are driving us that direction. AWS is driving us in that direction. And we've had a ton of success leveraging the programs. We've talked about it, and we want to keep having that success. So let's figure out how we can take what we're doing as an organization and align it to what is important to AWS and just take that to market together. Because if we're going to do it and they're going to do it, why not do it all together? And so marketplace was something that again, became extremely apparent just due to the organic growth from our customers and then all the different reports. I think the report that Tackle has put out showed 15 billion in marketplace transactions in 2023, and the expectation is about 125 billion in 2026. So that's massive growth, and it's just it continues to go. I think we are currently 6 months into the year, well, 7.5. But if we look at our first 6 months of the year, we've already done more transactions through the marketplace than we did all of last year. And again, I've only had a team for 6 months. Thank you. I've only had a team for 6 months. All of them have come on board new to this role, new to what we're trying to accomplish. And so, I mean, in all fairness, I can't even think that they were dangerous in this role for at least the first 3 months. There's just so much to learn.
Yeah.
And so, again, this is just organic. It's just organic growth that we're seeing. And I think our second half of the year is just going to be astronomical after all of these folks have been enrolled for 6 months, learning, understanding, being taught by our tackle go to market coach on all of these different aspects. I think our second half of the year is just going to be astronomical. But why, again, fight the wave when we can just jump right on it? I did an SKO at the beginning of the year, and my analogy was if any of you have ever surfed or boogie boarded or even bodyboarded in the ocean, if you don't get on the wave at the right point in time, you get left behind or you get run over by it. Right. So there's a perfect moment that you can get on and ride that wave in, and it's great. And that's kind of where we are now. We identified that we want to get on the wave and ride it in the right way, not get crushed by it and also not get left behind.
Yeah.
And so that's where we aligned. Okay, marketplace is important. It's happening organically. Let's ride that wave in. It's also very important to our partner. So let's take advantage of it. And then the way that we aligned that marketplace goal, it hits all the other activities that need to happen from a co-sell perspective, from the enablement perspective. All of those pieces, again, just take us back to marketplace, which is happening organically and very important to one of our major partners.
I imagine you're sharing that with them as well. Is that right? Are you letting them know that you're aligned and here's what we're doing? And
Yeah, we just had a QBR last week, and we're doing great. AWS is loving it. I've heard from multiple AWS personnel that we are on the right track. I don't want to give too many secrets away, but I've heard that we are definitely on the right track of what our focuses as an organization are. And then as we look to leverage the partnership and all of the benefits that AWS is offering, I think it's going to be great future for our partnership with AWS.
you're on the right wave, right? You're on the big
Yeah,
wave.
yeah.
On the right
I'll
wave.
keep with the same analogy throughout the
Yeah.
rest of it. On the right wave, correct.
Exactly. Yeah. So you incubated some processes, you kind of got them established, and then you went and actually optimized them by partnering with Tackle, really building solid foundation. Let's call that your boogie board or your surfboard for you
Sure.
to be able to ride this wave. In the beginning, you measured success probably differently than the way you measure success today. Can you kind of take us through that journey of when you're an ISV and you're kind of in the establishing and building adoption phases, what the things you focused on from a metric perspective versus now you're really in this like, we're going to go drive and scale the adoption and how you're looking at metrics differently today?
Yeah, originally our success metrics were strictly POs getting or sharing opportunities with AWS, and our theory was the more we share, the more we'll get back. That was
So
fairly accurate.
you metriced on you sharing, like the number of deals you're sharing and the increase of your pipeline to the cloud.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And that was, I think it was still very new. I mean, we're still, I would say, very new to this and learning, what is important each and every day. And it changes all the time, really. But I think if the North Star, again, is back to how do we leverage the partnership to do better for ourselves? Don't compare what we're doing anywhere else other than did we do better this year with our partnership than we did last year? And, originally my goal, being a team of one, was strictly just how many deals can you share? And then we floated around the idea of why don't we measure, maybe we can measure how many deals do we get back from AWS? But we really couldn't find like this correlation. And really, if all you want to measure is AOs, then I mean, you have to have a team of a ton of people, and you have to be in AWS office all the time, nonstop. That's the only way it works. And it wouldn't, in my eyes, it doesn't scale. It doesn't,
So then
there's
did you
no
measure like how much
ROI.
revenue, and using our
Yep.
umbrella term of revenue, like investment funds and AOs, like how much revenue?
Yes. Yeah. That's so the revenue from co-sell was what we measured in year one. Year two, I was pushing for some different metrics, but it just proved to be very difficult to track the metrics I was trying to get to. And so year two actually was co-sold revenue as well. And what we got to in year three is, again, all the activities that we're doing are going to lead to marketplace. So marketplace should be our success measurement. We have to share opportunities to have marketplace transactions. We have to do enablement for not only internal at Rapid7, but external at AWS. That should lead to marketplace transactions. So this year, our goal, my team's measurement of success is marketplace total contract value is what we're looking at this year.
That's great. And TJ, you mentioned the other day when we were talking through all these processes and through all these changes, you were looking at this when you came into the business as like, we are a small business. We're kind of looking at this through the lens of like, hey, we have a million things that are changing every day. I'm trying to test things over here. I've got activities over here. I'm really doing it all on my own as a small business. And then we transition to this kind of enterprise lens. And you've talked a lot about how those have come about and the value that you started to see by doing as such. Can you talk through some of the operational changes that you made during this process? We've heard about the deal desk team and putting that together, but anything with your listings or the enablement processes that you built out, what did that look like, and how did that change from your small business approach to this now scaled enterprise lens?
Yeah, I think the original approach as we got into the partnership with AWS, there's many unknowns. You know, AWS is such a big company and they just everything they do moves at a rapid scale. And so I think marketplace, I wasn't around for it, so I can't say with certainty, but I think it was almost kind of like a surprise. Like, oh, you're an AWS partner, you got to be on the marketplace. And the person that was in the shoes before me was awesome, had tons of knowledge. And what he would do is, as we had somebody interested in the marketplace, he created a quick listing. Now, he had a million things going on and was actually doing a couple different roles, I think. And so, as he would create these listings, they might not be the same logos, they might not be the same font. The pricing was put together just to be able to transact quickly. A lot of our business is done through private offer. So it wasn't this big deal, right? That marketplace was all disparate and definitely not uniform. And so as we've progressed through our processes and just our maturity, we've identified that we need to have that consistency. And so we've now looked at all of the listings that we have, and what we're doing is actually consolidating them down. Rapid7 really is focused on three main products, one of which is just all of our products, our Insight platform. And then we have our managed threat complete solution and our cloud risk complete solution. So what we've tried to do is consolidate our listings down to really give it that enterprise level kind of approach and make sure all of our listings are consistent, our price points are consistent, and utilize all the different features and functions that AWS has rolled out for the marketplace. So we can look like our marketplace brand is the same as our global company brand. It's not this little, SMB mom and pop type shop.
And I imagine you've put that back into your flywheel as like, hey, we've got regulation and governance around this process now. So that's was
Yes.
something that
Yeah.
was needed. That's
We
great.
we now have a person who is responsible as part of their role that is responsible for managing our listings, making sure they're updated whenever we create new materials or pricing changes or logo changes or whatever it is. This person is now responsible for managing those updates on a regular basis, where before it would have been myself trying to manage those things. And that just proves another area that I have to stay up on would be to consistently meet with our product management team to understand what changes are coming, what do I need to do, and then go and update it to then go and create the marketplace private offer after I've co-sold. So it was not possible to update those things at that point in time.
Good advice for anybody listening. Everybody's going to start in this kind of small business phase. We all want to mature to the enterprise state, but we need to make sure we continuously evolve this, incorporate these processes, get them documented, make sure that we've got people to support us. You can't do this as one person. Like it just doesn't scale right, and it's not going to get you the output you're looking for. So that's great,
Yeah.
great advice.
And you have to align your presence with how you are marketing and building your own product and selling
Mhm.
your product directly, right? Like they have to be very similar models.
Especially as more and more people start using the marketplace, because you can run into, a company finds your information through an event, through, an internet search, whatever, and their first instinct may be to go to the marketplace to buy your product. And if they go to the marketplace and they see, some outdated information, they see different logos and different titles, and then it might make them feel, okay, is this company as serious as what I expected them to be? And I think
Yeah.
that we are doing a great job of getting ourselves to that point on the marketplace.
And TJ, you've been super generous with your time, and we want to respect it. So Aaron and I will just ask you, probably one more question each. But I want to make sure Rapid7 got a good plug in here, and you've done quite the job at that. But as you look ahead from a Rapid7 perspective, looking at future investments and strategies that you're making, how does that look when it comes to cloud marketplace and your presence in the marketplace? Are anything's on the horizon that you could talk about, or any changes coming that would be valuable for people to hear?
Yeah, I think what we're focused on again is marketplace. Really, we're looking at all the different aspects, and as we look at that waves that we're trying to ride right now, we want to bring all of our partners on this journey with us, along with us. We have a very strong partnership or channel partner strategy at Rapid7, and our goal is to bring them along on this journey with us. And so as we look towards the future, we start to develop and hone in our own marketplace strategy. We want to make sure that we take that same message, take that same initiative, and do that with our resellers and with all of our channel partners. And so I think moving into the future, as we've gotten better at leveraging this, now it puts us in a position to be able to teach and work alongside of our partners so that we can all win. And really, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's for the customer, right? We're working with channel partners to deliver our solutions to our customers. And if we can all ride that marketplace wave and this cloud go to market strategy together, then I think it's going to be a win, not only for Rapid7 and our channel partners, but our customers is the big one.
So, what advice would you give someone who's just starting out? Let's say you're talking to yourself, in the very beginning, like the things you know now. What would you tell
Mhm.
yourself in the very beginning? Like, oh, I wish I would have known that when I was first getting started. That would have been a game changer for me.
Yeah, that one is hard because even knowing what I know, would I have changed what I did? I don't know. But I think the big one for me is it's like, oh, let's co-sell. Sure. Let's share all these opportunities. But what I didn't think about was all of the administrative tasks that come behind that, and the potential to really create potentially bad relationships with AWS, the partner that we're trying to work with. We were sharing so many opportunities. They couldn't devote the attention that was required to my colleagues at AWS and to the administrative tasks that are required to manage all that. So if there's any advice, I would say, slow it down, set realistic goals, understand that there's always going to be another piece that you have to do. Like you might think that you have it, but you're going to do it and find out there's more work that needs to be done after the fact that you didn't know about. And so set some realistic goals and slow roll it, set an end date for what you're trying to accomplish, and make sure that you give yourself enough time to provide the right experience for it. Unless you like working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah, I think that is always like it's sneaky time consuming is what I always tell
Mhm.
ISVs. Like, and while it's a very tactical thing, it's a very strategic thing. And if
Yeah.
you really need to be ready because it is going to either be a positive or a negative thing to your brand when you try to go to market with AWS or any of the cloud providers,
Mhm.
if you're not really ready to follow that up and have operational excellence around it, that's going to actually be a negative towards your brand and could actually hurt you and not help you.
Yes.
Well,
Well,
TJ, thank
TJ,
you for
thank
riding
you
the,
so much.
yeah.
This was so great. I know we could talk forever about our experiences with the clouds and with going to market and like all the fun things we're doing now and the fun things we're going to do in the future together. So really appreciate you, not just as a customer, but now you're also on our newly established customer advisory board. So thank you for even
Yes.
spending more
Yeah.
time with us.
Thank you guys. This is great. Thank you
Yeah.
both.
And next time you want to color coordinate and ride some waves, I know Erin and I'll sign right up.
There we go. Sounds like a plan to me.
Awesome.
That's
Well,
so
thank you
great.
again, TJ. Thanks
All
everybody
right.
for listening,
Thank you both.
and we'll see you next time.
Take care.
All right, Patrick, it's time for aha moments from our conversation with TJ. What aha moment did you have? What did he leave you with?
I think you and I probably have a bunch. I saw my pen going, and I thought I saw you thinking about these. So,
I know
for
next
me,
time I'm going to need to like grab a pen and paper because I'm like, I can't remember all of these.
yeah, well, I'm gonna put it back on you because I think when he first started talking, he was really going through like our workshop and unpacking the brand building piece. So for me, like having a customer have that click in their head and start to use co-sell to build brand, like I'm gonna stop talking because I know you. This is your
Oh,
bread
I
and
mean,
butter.
I was like, oh, he's just pulling on my heartstrings. I started a whole business around co-sell, and I really truly believe that fundamentally, co-sell is a great branding tool for ISVs who are trying to establish their cloud go-to-market strategy with their cloud partner, as well as like accelerate it. And his story was just like, yes, we used co-sell, and co-sell was really about branding and giving us an opportunity to go knock on everyone's door and tell our story, who we are, what we do, who are our customers, who are we trying to sell into. And he not only used co-sell, but then he applied one of our accelerators that we say, like, your experience can happen in a variety of different time frames. And one of those factors that can influence your time is the volume of deals. So then he
Yeah.
just slammed the system with a ton of deals so that he could get their attention even faster.
Yeah, and then realized so one of my other points was, like, then he realized, "Oh, shoot, I can't do this 24 hours a day because now I'm getting actual buy-in and feedback and
Well,
conversations
and he
started with reps."
Right, and he realized that I have to keep operational excellence because this is part of my brand, and if
Yeah,
I actually have bad deals in there or deals that I'm not launching on time or not closing them out as a loss so that I can stay focused on the active deals, he was like, "This is going to hurt my brand just as much
yeah.
as it could help my brand. If I don't do this and do this well, it's really gonna hurt my brand."
Yeah, so if you know me and you follow me, you know I talk a lot about operational transformation, and this is what we're talking about. There are things that will change internally, and you
Yeah,
need to be flexible to handle them. So,
yeah,
like, they're handling them nicely now. I think that was a good one. What did you
yeah.
think about I know we talked about it, but what did you think about when he was talking about comparison and, like, competing with
Oh
others?
my gosh. I mean, the athlete in me, I was like, yes, I'm a runner. Like every time I go out to run, I'm always like competing against myself. Can I run faster? Can I run farther? You know, when I was competitively running, it was like I wasn't really worried about who was in the race because I was racing against myself. So when he said that about metrics and not comparing yourself to what other ISVs are doing or where you're necessarily stack ranked inside of programs, but really just to compete against yourself and to always try and do better than the last time. And that those metrics do change as you evolve and as the cloud providers putting out different priorities, but always still keeping that fundamental principle of you are competing with yourself. And when you compete with yourself, you naturally are going to strive for excellence to try and do better next time and have a natural progression of improvement.
Yeah, because 'cause we're kinda still early in this game, but we're not that early. Our
Yeah.
competitors most of your competitors are either in or getting in, and so, like, we're all gonna be on the same playing field soon. So
Yeah.
how can you compete more with yourself to become that number 1 spot? How do we year over year get better at one piece of the
Yeah.
business? Maybe we need to become more efficient on the back end. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good
And the other thing I really liked in his story was he created some processes in the beginning, right? I incubated these processes. And then when I needed help, he called a partner. He called Tackle, someone who has experience in this to really help him refine his operational processes so that they were easier. And with ease came speed. And then the part of his story that I think a lot of times is the value add of being a tackle partner is our coaching, and not only our coaches, but our support team, our implementation team. We are wrapping ourselves around that customer, really helping them enable and educate them in that role. Like we're training them, like a train the trainer. We're training them. We're there to help teach them and to help continue to teach them as things evolve and change with the cloud provider, also within Tackle, making their life easier. Like we are their first point of contact for training and technical support. So instead of calling the cloud or leaning on the cloud partner, they're actually leaning on us, and we are scaling them faster, right? Than if they were doing it on their own, or potentially if they were relying on the cloud partner, because the cloud partner has 40,000 partners that they have to support, right? I really loved that.
Yeah. And you said our coaches, and one of the things I wanted to bring up, I know our coaches are doing this and they're helping customers like TJ looking at the metrics that you should be tracking, the things to compete against yourself. What's our current win rate? How's it look quarter over quarter? What is our deal size? And he said that their win rates are up over 40% now. Their deal sizes have tripled. Their sales cycle decreased by 21 days. Those are things that are tangible value ROI metrics
Yeah.
that every CFO wants to see and every
Yeah.
CRO is like giddy about. So like
Yeah.
if you're not tracking those today and you're listening and maybe you don't have a coach from Tackle, like we've got content out there, go track those things because
Yeah.
that's how you're going to continue to get more buy-in internally, build out your teams, get more
Yeah.
support and ultimately grow. Yeah.
And what influenced that was also the fact that Tackle simplified his operational processes. And because of that simplification, he was able to train other people in the organization. He's able to onboard new members into his team faster, right? So, in order to get those, he had to create not only operational efficiency, but simplification in his operations too. And that also contributed to his growth metrics.
Yeah, I remember I had 3 Excel files, each with supporting documents for each of the cloud providers I was in that had, here's an intake form from sales, here's how to go create a deal in this marketplace, here's how to do one in that. And then when we hired Tackle, I was like, I don't have to do all this anymore. I
Yeah.
just have to have one quick 10-minute demo.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. I know.
That's
Sometimes
awesome.
I'll ask a customer, I'm like, my goal in life is to get you out of spreadsheets. So tell me today, what's a spreadsheet you're using and how can we do that in our product for you? Yeah.
That was awesome. Well, Erin, thank you again. This was an awesome episode for everybody listening. Go check out TJ Schmidt. He goes by Timothy on LinkedIn. So if you want to connect with him and you can't find him, you got to look at Timothy. Rapid7, Director of Cloud Partnerships. I'm your co-host, Patrick Riley.
I'm your co-host, Erin Feiger.
And this was another episode of Unlock Cloud Go to Market. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining.
So pull up a chair, grab a notebook, and join us as we share the essential stages of the maturity model to start, optimize, and grow your company's revenue using the cloud. For more resources on executing your cloud go-to-market strategy, you can visit our website at tackle.io.